I definitely think that your intuition that this could be a problem, I think that intuition is correct. And if you're getting serious with this girl, and maybe even thinking about marriage, for starters, it's probable that you and she may have very different ideas about even what marriage is and what its purpose is and what the end goal is in marriage. And in marriage, at least in a Catholic understanding, is followed by the desire for children and active steps to attempt to conceive children. And then that raises a whole nother set of issues, which is how are you going to raise your kids with respect to God, religion, and the moral life. And so, the possibility for conflict down the road is very high, and conflict about things that are really fundamental to your identity as human beings, as a couple, and as a family. And, one thing, I'm 54 years old now. I have 5 children, a couple of grandkids, and so I speak from experience. If you think you've had a few disagreements, now, boy, you ain't seen nothing until kids come on the scene. And everybody will tell you when children arrive, it's one thing to argue about where you're going to put your dirty socks, right? It's another thing to argue about where you're going to put your kids in school, what you're going to teach your kids about the meaning of life, and the stakes are so much higher than they are with dirty socks, that you don't want to yield. If you have a very strong conviction about the meaning of life and the moral life and destiny, that's not something you want to. You're not gonna compromise on that with respect to your children. And two people who are unwilling to compromise on a fundamental moral issue is a recipe for difficulty. So I definitely think that's something you need to consider moving forward. Do I want to move forward if we have irreconcilable visions of the good life? From a Catholic point of view, and I already alluded to this, marriage is a very specific kind of institution. In the modern world, a lot of people think of marriage as, well, here are two people that are attracted to one another and might be sexually attracted to each other and maybe other kinds of attraction. We enjoy being together, and, we can partner together to enjoy one another and to companion with one another, and we hope it works out. And if it doesn't work out, we gave it a good try. That's not the Catholic view of marriage at all. Catholic view of marriage is that procreation, children, having babies, is really, really fundamental to society. That you have to replenish society to have a society. And so there is a specific institution that's critical for the maintenance of civilization that has been delegated the task by nature, not by men, not by law, but just by nature, of replenishing society. And that institution is called the family or marriage. And so the decision to marry is the decision to enter into a kind of institution that you didn't create, that you can't create, that flows from the nature of the human person as such, from the fact that men and women are male and female, and they procreate in that way, that you are yielding yourself to that reality, not for your own sake or pleasure or convenience, but to create a civilization, a society, beginning the very small society of the family and ultimately contributing to the greater good of the whole. And you're willing to subsume your own personal interests under that goal. And so, it's like the good of your spouse, the good of your children becomes more important to you than yourself. And so the option, we gave it a good try and it didn't work out, so we're going to do something else. That ceases to be an option to you, right? Because all of a sudden these children are the most important thing in the world to you. And you'll give your life, you'll give your comfort, you'll give your sexual preferences, whatever it might be. Those go out the window in comparison to the transcendent dignity of the child in the life of the family. I remember when I was in graduate school, I knew a man who he was a married fellow with kids, and this was early days for this kind of movement. And he decided, I'm tired of being a man. I think I'll go have a sex change operation and I'll become a woman, and I'll leave my wife and I'll leave my kids and I'll go off and start a new life because that's what floats my boat. And the family felt naturally quite abandoned. Well, that's kind of an extreme case, but lots more people have, they get to middle age and they say, well, I'm tired of this wife, I'm tired of these kids, I want another version. So I'm going to sign up for the, marriage 2.0 and family 2.0, and they, leave the first one behind because it's all about me. It's all about what pleases me. My sexual preferences have changed, or my sexual identity has changed, or my circumstances have changed, and I'm no longer interested or committed to that other institution. From the Catholic point of view, that's a non-starter. Okay, your interests have changed, your pleasures have changed. Whoever said it was about you or your interests?
Yeah.
Right? And so there's a fundamental moral commitment that calls for self-sacrifice at the root of the relationship that's grounded in your faith in God, the dignity of the human person, the dignity of the family, the dignity of the sexual union. All these things come into play in a massive way, in a tremendously important way in the union of marriage. You may not share all those beliefs, but there are some things for you to think about.